Hey gang, it's your old buddy Platt. Today we're continuing on our wine series. Today we're moving the wine series from fortified wines to dessert wines. And probably the most popular dessert wine is Sauternes. Sauternes is a French sweet wine from the Sauternes region. Sauternes itself is in the Graves section of Bordeaux in France. So we're talking about a Bordeaux wine. Actually, it's a white wine, so we're talking about a white Bordeaux. Sauternes are highly prized wines known throughout the world because of their reputation. Also, just even being from Bordeaux really ramps up their reputation, thus ramps up the price. If you find these in a store, you'll definitely notice we're taking a step up in price. Probably the most well-known Sauternes is Chateau De Kim. You could spend several $1,000s a bottle for Chateau De Kim. Part of the reason the price is high on these is how it's produced. The production method gets a low yield from the harvested grapes. Thus, that's going to increase the producer's costs, and thus that will get passed on to you. Then you add on that's a highly prized wine. You're going to pay for this wine, just to let you know. Talking about production, let's start off with the grapes that are used. There's 3 grapes used in Sauternes production: Semillon, Sauvignon Blanc, and Muscadel. Now, Muscadel is the rarest of the 3. It's not used all the time, but you can see it in there. Generally, Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc do the heavy lifting as far as Sauternes production goes. What makes Sauternes unique and also so sweet is something called noble rot, or also botrytis. This noble rot, or fungus, mold, whatever you call it, will affect the grapes and it'll shrivel it up or dehydrate the grapes. We're taking out water, but we're leaving all that sugar and those flavors, and it really concentrates those flavors. But with less water in that grape, that means when we go to press that grape, there's a lower yield. Thus, we're not getting as much juice. We need to grow more grapes. Again, that's where part of the cost comes in. A good example on the difference in the yield is, in a general winery, you'll have a vine, and that vine throughout a year will produce enough grapes to generally produce 1 bottle of wine. Well, in Sauternes, that same vine only ends up producing enough juice for 1 glass of wine. So about 1/4 of what normally would be produced. Noble rot itself is not exclusive to Sauternes. It happens in many wine regions in the world. It just happens somewhat sporadically. Some years you'll have a wetter fall, more rain, more foggy, or whatever, and you'll get that. And sometimes the winemakers will take that opportunity to produce a nice dessert wine, with the concentrated sugars, but it doesn't always happen. Well, in Sauternes, they get the conditions pretty consistent for noble rot. And part of the reason why that is the topography. Sauternes is located in a spot in Bordeaux where you have a couple of rivers meet, the Garonne and the Sauternes. And actually, they have different temperatures. So when they meet, you have different bodies of water with different temperatures meeting. And that causes, in the mornings, a fog or a mist that's pretty much every morning. And that humid climate is just right for that noble rot to hit those grapes. And eventually the sun comes out and will burn that off, but again, it just sits in motion. They have that pretty much every morning, that start where that noble rot gets going, but it doesn't necessarily take over the vine or ruin anything, but it gets started in those grapes. Also, it's the grapes they use that kind of help start this too. Semillon has a thinner skin, so that noble rot can attack that grape easier. And with that noble rot will dehydrate that grape, concentrate those sugars, concentrate those flavors. To balance out that sweetness, that's where Sauvignon Blanc comes in. Sauvignon Blanc has a little more acidity, and that helps balance out that sweetness. As far as the history of noble rot producing sweet wines, there's really no set date. It may be a happy accident or a lazy winemaker that took some rotted grapes and went ahead and pressed them anyway and realized, hey, I got something here. But it wasn't until the 17th century that it kind of became known. People started writing down that, hey, we've got something here. This wine's a little different. And by the 18th century, these wines became highly sought after. So much so that George Washington himself once ordered 30 bottles of Chateau De Kim to be sent to the White House. Pretty impressive fact there. As far as the wine itself, Sauternes is a full-bodied, fully sweet wine that is balanced with acidity. Tasting notes-wise, you're going to get peaches, apricot, honey. And in that honey, you'll get a little more viscosity. You know, again, imagine honey in a drink. You imagine the extra viscosity. Food pairing-wise, we're going to pair this with blue cheese, foie gras, and cheesecakes. Not chocolate desserts, but cheesecakes or fruit cheesecakes, fruit tarts also. One thing you'll notice right here by looking at the bottle, Sauternes generally come in 375 milliliter bottles. Thus, we're already paying a little more per bottle, and it's a smaller bottle, so again, our cost is going up quite a bit. You'll want to serve these wines chilled anywhere between 42 and 50 degrees. The particular one we're trying today is Chateau Miselle. It's a 2016 Sauternes, comes at 13.5% alcohol by volume. It's a Semillon Sauvignon Blanc blend. And just a little comparison, I paid $19.99 for this bottle. It's a 2016. A 2015 Chateau De Kim comes in around $375. So again, you can end up spending quite a bit of money on these wines. So let's give this a try. Alright, I've got a golden straw kind of color. Oh my gosh, I definitely get the apricot and a little bit of honey on that. Seems kind of bright on the nose. Let's give her a try. Oh my goodness. Holy cow, that's good. It's sweet, but there's some acidity, there's some blends. It hits, I get a little on the side of the tongue. Unlike a couple of fortified wines, where I didn't get any acidity on the tongue, I get a little acidity. This, it's sweet, but it takes me back to actual, I guess, regular table wines in that sense. Viscosity, slightly more in the full-bodied Chardonnay range, maybe a little more, but again, it's very drinkable. Wow. Kind of reminds me of almost like a little bit apple juice-ness in that I get the fruit, the sweetness, and again, just a slight more viscosity, but still very drinkable. Man, that is nice. I've read several reviews of this, and they said for the dollar, this is a great value for Sauternes, and I can definitely see that. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the videos. Lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.